Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 524. This is your guide to the geek side. I'm one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra. We are recording on Free Comic Book Day, the day before May the 4th be with you, where you can pay Star Wars a lot of money just because of a date that doesn't even matter. Joined by Charlie Carden.
Not only May the 4th, which I'm very excited. I've been talking a lot on my socials about how April and I are hosting Star Wars trivia at our local watering hole. But the costumers in the 501st costuming group celebrate 501, May 1 as their day. So whatever. There's a bunch of new Star Wars shorts that come out in the morning, animated shorts that Todd won't watch. But the rest of you can be excited because it's Tuesday.
Remind me what that is again. What is that thing?
Tales of the Underwear. I mean, the Underworld with Asajj Ventress.
Is that like, is Cad Bane in that too?
That is correct.
Anybody else? Darth Maul, has he got like a thing too? Anybody else?
I really hope not. But yeah, that'll be on by the time we listen to this.
Are those like 8-minute long things? Or are they like 15-minute long?
I would say 10 to 15. I don't know and there's 6 of them, so we'll watch them in the morning. But
that's right. That's where Yaddle got her 6 minutes of glory and death.
And yeah, she got crushed by a door. Spoilers. That was from a couple years ago, or maybe
that's all you get.
Yeah, it was from a couple years ago. But anyway, at some point we'll talk about that over on Holocron. But of course, for current, we'll be covering Andor. So yada yada yada. But anyway, great show today. We are spoiler/non-spoiler casting about Thunderbolts asterisk, given all the rundown about this film that we both have seen and a bunch of other fun stuff. But before we do that, as always, it's time to give homage to the wonderful folks that support us over at patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite, our secret friend super squad. These folks get exclusive shows, early shows, no ads, benefits, 7 days for free, 50% off your first month, and then stay on board for as little as $2 a month. We would just love to have you on board, just like these people. My buddy Derek Trevelyan, the figure dude, Francie, who does my wife's hair. She's getting her hair done next week. Very excited. Xbox expansion pass, Luke Lore, and my awesome uncle Tim, also John Sedorf, Brendan Myers, Corey in HD, Matthew Keel, my buddy Kurt Krug. I've got a funny Kurt story I'll tell you about later, but not on air, who helps us out with all these great interviews that we have on Patreon. Last night, Todd and I talked to writer Mark Guggenheim. Oh, God, it was terrific. So you've got
It was great. That was probably one of my favorite interviews just because he is our age. So he's kind of up to the same things. Yeah. And he was and he's very vibrant in making things that everybody loves. So
he's so
easy to talk to, love to share. Very, very fun guy.
Yeah, totally love that. But you'll be able to tune into the Patreon and hear that. Our friend Tanya Lee, Chipotle Bear, famous Seamus, and getting his power this week, and we'll circle back in a minute. Cam, the movie man, stop clicking around. I can't read. Jay Newport, 007, and Prozac Man, a.k.a. Slash Darth Prozac. So circling back, Cam, the movie man, has been with us on Holocron. I'm thinking people's names. I get a mix up. Ring a bell?
He was
very good. Yep. I'm picturing him now. Love to have him on board. That was fun. But yeah, what do you think? He's got a power. Todd, has he been over on your show as well? Has he been on Co-op?
No, I don't know. Would he be a good guest? I don't know. I've talked to Mark if he's a video game guy. Would he be a good guest? Would he be a good guest on SFU? If he is, let's have him on.
Yeah, absolutely correct. But yeah, I did. That would be a Mark question because I've only met him the one time. But jump in. So, what power do you assign to? The movie man is very evocative, so it gives you a good place to start.
Well, I have. Well, unfortunately, it would be like a very lame power. But if the days of Blockbuster was still around, his movies would always be rebound. So that's not a good power up, though. Now it's kind of like irrelevant. So he gets like his secondary mutation, Charlie. So now.
Evolving.
Now, I don't think I've ever given anyone this power, but he is going to have the power to never run out of battery life, but he'll constantly be at 1% on his phone, which you can make movies with. So that 1% is like the anxiety killer, but it never goes out.
So really, 1% is 100% because it never goes
Correct.
down.
But you'll never be able to guarantee it, right? Because it's like, well, what if my power dies out? I'm always on edge.
But now he doesn't have to be. Well, I have I mean, if we're batting up lame ones, I mean, I've got one that is potentially the equal to the blockbuster Always Rewind. I'm going to say Cam the Movie Man has forever no online ticketing fees. Buy your tickets online. Don't pay that $2. I mean, let's face it. If you're going to the movies all the time, that's going to save you a bunch of bucks if you're buying them from your phone. Just saying, you know what? Better to have it than not have it, even if you don't use it that much.
Yeah, because like a $5 movie ticket turns into like a $7.50 movie ticket with those fees.
Yeah, you add up those $2.50 and eventually.
What are those convenience fees? Not much convenience about it except for click. Yeah,
like the convenience fee at like Ticketmaster or something. You know, the convenience is they don't have to mail you the tickets. So
movies don't sell out anymore. It's not like I have to worry about, am I going to get seats?
Yeah, exactly. You'll find a seat. And if you're in a theater with reclining seats, every seat is a decent seat. You know, there's not really a crappy seat. So yeah, but anyway.
Those front rows still suck, Charlie. I'm sorry. You can have all of those.
We've since given them up because at our theater, it was those first two. Now it's all of them. So you don't. So we sit 4 or 5 rows back, so it's no big deal. But anyway, so yeah, Cam, welcome, and all the other new folks, welcome, and thank you, everyone. And naturally, we'd love to give homage to the wonderful Nias family out there in the Twin Cities, Sean, Stella, and Henry, for helping us make it all possible. One more time, patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. You get 7 days for free, $2 after $2 a month after you're 50% off your first month. Good stuff. And moving right along, I love this. This is one of the few comics. Wait, hold on. I saw a finger. Yes, speak.
So Charlie,
yeah,
I'm not giving you any information about this comic, so I probably you've read this, but because the only reason I picked this comic this week, I picked Spider-Man team up or Marvel team up with Spider-Man and the Beast, and the only reason I picked this comic is not because what's happening on the page, but because the very bottom, exactly, because I am like, it says a major new development in the life of everyone's favorite Ant-Man. I'm like, what is this? Major development.
I have a guess. Couple things about Marvel Team Up. It ran from about 1973 to 1985. The last issue was you would have loved it. It was a great cover. Spidey and the 1985 X-Men take on Black Tom Cassidy and the Juggernaut. Great issue. Great double final issue. You would enjoy. I would recommend checking it out.
Is that the one where they're walking away in the background or something, like the X-Men, Spider-Man and the X-Men are walking away? I can't remember what the cover is.
No, the cover of it is they're all standing center frame and Spidey's got his arms crossed. And it says,
okay, maybe I haven't seen that cover.
It says a moment of silence before the action begins. This is one of the few comics that I collect single issues of. So I have a ton of Marvel team ups. But anyway, yeah, Professor Power, not an exciting villain. Beast is the guest character, but I'm going to guess. So if this is, and again, it's in the narrow spine here, but 124. If it ended at 150, so I'm going to guess this to be about 1983 or so. As far as you didn't put the title, you didn't put the date up.
I wasn't going to tell you anything. I wanted you to figure out when it was. Don't
good.
Click on anything.
I'm going to say this is what I'm going to say. Aunt May had a sweetheart, Nathan Lubienski, and she got engaged to him. Yes,
that's your guess.
Well, it did.
Nathan Lubienski.
I'm wondering if it happened at this time. She got engaged.
Okay, let's see. Let's see where would it say this. Let's see.
Oh, you don't even know?
Well, I'm looking at the bottom of this because I just want to see what the big deal is. Where's the real big deal with Madam May? Madam May.
Lots of preparation here. This is great. Makes for great radio.
I'm just trying to. I'm like, the synopsis is here, but I'm like, where is it? What's going on? Oh my goodness! I'm reading Charlie. Phil. I'll find it.
Oh, very good. Well, let's see here on the cover. Professor Power was just some dude who was wearing like a very low rent, like strength boosting, armor. It was orange, and he had green helmet and green shoulder pads, which is very 80s. Big green gloves and green boot jets. And he's sacking the Beast, and he's like not snapped his head back. And Spidey's firing his webbing, but the webbing dissolves, so maybe he has some kind of force field. And he's a professor, which means he's in tenure. So this is probably at ESU. And at the end of it, he kept his job because he's got tenure. Isn't that how that works? Can't get fired.
I believe that's what it is.
Yeah. All right. So what is
so the only thing I can find in here is that. Okay, Peter Parker and his classmates help his Aunt May move back into her home, which she is turning into a rooming house for the elderly.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. So I was not correct. However, Nathan Lubianski ends up being one of the boarders. They strike up a romance and they get engaged.
Ooh.
He, and it's years later, but he ends up dying of a heart attack in the middle of a fight between Spidey and the Sinister Six during Eric Larson's run of The Amazing Spider-Man and probably 89 or 90.
I thought you were going to say he had a heart attack dying during something, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no. Because Peter walks in on them.
he was in a wheelchair, but I don't know to what extent that he was. Yeah. So we're going to move on from that. But
that was 1982, Charlie.
1982. So that was close. All right. So, the boarding house, that's right. Turning Peter's house, which is, I think, 410 Ocean Avenue in Forest Hills, Queens. I recently found it. It's on Google Maps, by the way. That the house in question is noted that way. So yes, that was it. Did become a boarding house.
God. Yeah. Okay. I would throw that comic in the trash if that was all. They put that on there and that's all it was.
Yeah, that's and how is that a major? And it's bold and italicized. So major. They should have put quotes around it. Plus a major.
And May is painting her bathroom. Ooh,
she's going with off-white. But anyway,
Dusty Rose.
Well, this is an easy one. At 82 years young in 1982, I believe one of her first tenants was our senior news correspondent, Madam Webb. You know, living the New York lifestyle at the time out there in the suburbs on Long Island. But these days, she is working for us down at the corner of Hollywood and Vine in sunny California with Madam Webb's Rumors and News. Let's get it going.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's Rumors and News. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. Madam Webb, the last big important part of your life was when you did try to start up your own Golden Girls in reality. You thought you could recruit Aunt May. You thought you could recruit Agatha Harkness. You guys you couldn't figure out how to split the rent. It went to hell. You put the masking tape down the middle of the apartment because you guys couldn't get along. It just went horribly wrong. And then the last bad part about it was Miss Lyon kept on peeing on the rug. So you kicked out Aunt May, and that was it.
And I heard that Agatha would only pay by check, and nobody wants to deal with that stuff. But I digress. All right. What do we got here?
All right. So the first note is a new trailer for a sequel. Not really sequel, but it's something in the series that I never thought we were going to get. And that is Fear Street. This is a series by R.L. Stine that happened in like the late 90s following Goosebumps, I believe, or maybe around the time Goosebumps. He did both of those. And we got Fear Street previously from Netflix. It was 3 different movies that were set in the same town, but from different eras. Very cool. I really liked it quite a bit. The most
memorable thing is the person whose head that went through the bread slicer.
The meat slicer?
Yeah, exactly.
Or the bread slicer.
Yeah, it's bread slicer.
I guess that did really well, and we didn't know if we were going to get more adaptations of the Fear Street books. We're now getting Fear Street Prom Queen, and this looks like very much fun. Basically, the log line is it's an actual adaptation, which is cool. Prom season at Shady Side High is underway, and the school's wolf pack of it girls is busy with its usual sweet and vicious campaigns for the crown. But when a gutsy outsider is unexpectedly nominated to the court and the other girls start mysteriously disappearing, the class of 88 is suddenly in for one hell of a prom night.
Ruh-roh. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So this was, I was trying to remember all the details. So we got that, what was that, 2-3 years ago that we got that? And I did love this trailer.
It was prom part 194, part 2, 1978, Part 2, Part 3, 1666, which was very cool.
That's right. Yeah, isn't that? I did love in the trailer that it says at one point from the twisted mind of R.L. Stein, and I'm like, wasn't Goosebumps like a kid's book? I didn't really, but I didn't read it, so maybe it was twisted for kids or twisted at that level. I have no idea. But yeah, this looks rad. I enjoy this kind of stuff. We enjoy the horror in general, the slasher stuff, and this is out Memorial Day weekend, so this is just a couple weeks away.
All right,
as we're recording this, yes. The 3-part trilogy came out in July of 21, so it was 4 years.
And it was like a month apart. Each one was a month apart, which is kind of unique for Netflix, and did really well. And it was funny because R.L. Stein says his books were always like PG-13 at most, and he's like, they adapted mine. He was like, oh my God, they turned my books into slasher films. He goes, no, I wrote a slasher film. He's like really excited about it. He's like, this is cool.
Right. Yeah. He was totally jazzed up. So actors, I didn't see a ton of familiar faces.
No.
There
may be one that's been something.
They had a couple from shows I know you've watched. Dead Boy Detectives, Paper Girls. I know that was one you enjoyed. I recognize Lily Taylor.
American Pie. Oh, Chris Klein is in this, Charlie, from American Pie.
I missed him.
Lily Taylor is in this.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I literally just said that. Catherine Waterston from Fantastic Beasts. Where are they? They in the case. And Chris. I like Chris Klein. Yeah, he's a guy. I think he had a big kind of career upset, and which is why we don't see him anymore. I think he was in that rollerball movie and it tanked out. I know that was one thing, but do you know
one of the worst films he did? I think it was the Street Fighter Chun-Li movie. I believe he was in that. That's like probably one of the worst movies ever. Apparently, he's just horrific in it.
I saw because I watch a lot of these Watch Mojos, like worst films of the 2010s or whatever, and that was featured. It was pretty close to being number one, if not number one.
And Kristen Kruk was Chun-Li for no reason.
Oh yeah.
Very odd. Oh yeah. Here's one. Ariana Greenblatt, who was in Barbie and Ahsoka, she's playing Christy Renault.
Very good. So that'll be fun. So yeah, just a couple of weeks from now. And this is a single, I already closed the link. Sorry. A single film. So this is not a
single film. And the killer, the slasher killer is wearing like a red, like Gordon Fisherman suit, wearing a mask and uses an axe. So
okay.
Yeah. So this should be a fun whodunit, and it'll be Chris Klein.
I'm trying to. Yeah, there you go. Why not? Yeah, he's got nowhere to go but up. And speaking of nowhere to go, there's a sequel coming out to a film series which I've seen. I've seen at least the first one. Todd, have you seen the first?
I've not seen any, but I'm like, I don't know why you haven't. They look like they're just a fun heist romp.
Yeah, we're talking about the Now You See Me films. I know there was a second one. It has, in order of likability, at least from where I'm concerned, you have Woody Harrelson, who's adorable. This is from the original film. Isla Fisher, who is adorable, and Jesse Eisenberg, who I'd liken to Tom Cruise as much as I don't like him. I really can't stand him. Drives me up the wall.
Really?
So, yeah, I don't think I saw the second film, but those were always a little bit more lighthearted. But they're coming back with the sequel. Throws Morgan Freeman into the mix. Likes that. Throws Justice Smith, who was in Pokemon, and he was in one of the Jurassic Worlds or whatever it is. I like him very much. But you're taking this from a simple, like, hey, we're magicians, whatever, and they turn it into Fast and Furious for magicians is pretty much what I got out of this trailer. So
love it.
Yeah. So
I'm all in.
I just don't know. I don't know if my dislike of him would throw me out of this one, but yeah, it was. Oh, and Rosamund Pike is the mark or the villain, and I've never felt the same after her about her. And after that, what was that? Gone Baby Gone or whatever, where she fakes her own kidnapping and ends up killing Doogie Howser. Did you ever see that movie? It's the Ben Affleck movie.
I never saw it. I heard it's very good though.
It is very good, and I just ruined the twist for you. I apologize, but I'll bet you'll live. But and Dave Franco is the last of
the only Franco that has a career. Sadly, yes,
I know that. Who's the other Franco that has kind of torpedoed his career?
Frank Franco.
Frank L. Franco.
That would be what's his name?
You can't remember his first name.
What's his name? The first Osborn kid from the first Spider-Man film.
Oh yeah, it was James Franco. Yeah,
there you go.
He's persona non grata for reasons that we don't need to talk about, or so I've heard.
Bad dude.
So yes, noticeably absent from the trailer is Mark Ruffalo, who's a part of the previous two films. I don't know. I like Mark Ruffalo. I don't know that's going to say this for me. This is a Lionsgate, and we're getting this just before Thanksgiving. So I don't know, man. You know, I'll tell you this: if you ever jumped in and watched the other films and wanted to watch this one, I'd go for it, and we can talk about it. But if you don't,
there's a lot of those series that I'm just like, I've never seen the movies. I need to do it. Like 28 years later, I never saw the second one. So when we do see the third one, I need to watch the second one, and maybe we'll just talk about all three of them at the same time when we review that film.
Yeah, we could. I didn't necessarily get the feeling that a lot happened in the second one, but then again, I've not seen either one of those probably more than
twice. Oh, you haven't? Oh,
more
okay.
than twice. I've seen them.
More than but you've seen them both. Okay, so yeah, I'll catch up. So. I'll watch. Probably just watch the second one. Watch a recap of the first. Watch the second one, and then we'll do that. So, and I will watch these movies too before this comes out. So I'm making a pledge, Charlie. I need to watch all the Final Destination films because I've never seen any of them. So I need to do that too.
They are on my Fandango at home. You're welcome to log in and watch all 5.
I'm sure they're on everything. Yeah. So I just need to watch 4 of them.
Yeah.
Is there 4 of them already? Then this is the 5th.
This is number 6.
So now I got to watch it. I got to watch 5. So I better start watching these, rocking them out. Yep.
I think you could get by with watching the first one. If you could really, the first and the second one share some interconnectivity. The rest of them are just, it's like a photocopy. Each one gets more dull. Okay. But anyway, yes, you have an article here. Summer movies are back and popcorn buckets are out. Now we got our summer bucket at our theater, which is just a bucket it was Thunderbolts, just a picture with the side on it. But it was not fun and cool like this one. One thing we did get was, because they were literally giving them away because they were all out of them, was a plastic Venom 3 cup with the bottom portion of it was translucent and Venom's little head was in there. So I thought, well, they're giving it to me for free. I'll take it. April put it in the washer and the top part of it melted. So it went bye-bye.
No! Yeah, you can't wash those things. They're fragile and they'll fall away. Yeah.
It was worth everything that we spent on it. But I mean, you remember last summer they had the Dune 2 bucket, which got its own skit on SNL, which was great. Yep. But now we're getting what looks like, and they didn't have these at my theater, but there is an awesome Red Guardian topper to where the middle part of it pops up, and that's where you eat the popcorn.
It's very weird.
Yeah, and you have an
the helmet with looks like just a regular bucket.
And there's an asterisk, which is a popcorn bucket, but is that a straw or a handle, or is it supposed to also be a cup to drink out of? I mean, there's a lot. These seems like these are specialty, like they aren't at every theater. Because I feel like if it was at every theater, we would have seen them. Because we were there Thursday.
Well, see for the Thunderbolts limousine. Not sure about the asterisk. Not sure about the the Red Guardian helmet. But does the helmet actually come off the bucket or no?
They do not elaborate. They simply show it, and then and there was the limo, which you see in the trailer.
Yes,
much like
AMC.
Much like my Deadpool limousine and my Ecto one that I have on the other side of my screen here. But yeah, I don't see me moving forward getting any more fancy buckets. Nope. Kind of tapped out. There's one for Mission Impossible, including the big old skeleton key, which is the MacGuffin of the previous film. Did you see the previous film? I can't remember.
Yes,
you did.
I've seen them all.
I've seen them all. I enjoy those films too, but I know we all, per our movie challenge, have some misgivings on how this one will do, but I digress. One movie that I'm sure
you can only open up this bucket, so it's got the MacGuffin with it, the key. Yeah. That's the only way you can open up this popcorn bucket. If you lose the key, or they don't give you the key,
throw it at the
you're
wall.
Screwed.
Yeah, throw it at the wall.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird.
Better yet, put it in the dishwasher.
Yes, exactly.
Also, we have one. I thought this would have been from Lilo and Stitch, but this is from How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, that's super cute. Kids will love that. A little toothless popcorn bucket. That's super cute.
And as we saw up top, 50th anniversary of Jaws, the first summer blockbuster, with a great. This looks like the shark that steps on a Lego. You've seen that meme? That's the face he's making.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
with the popcorn in the middle. So that's one. You know what? I got to be honest with you. I would consider that one. I'm not even a big fan of the movie, but this makes me think of the meme, and I think that's more fun. So yeah, Todd, have you ever purchased a bucket, or is that just not in the Todd wheelhouse?
Not in the Todd wheelhouse. I do get sometimes the cup just because. Yeah. Like today when we saw Thunderbolts, I got the cup I got though was Snow White.
It was Venom?
No, Snow White. I was like, okay, I guess I got Snow White for some reason.
We got, and it was a movie we saw last week, which I now already forgotten what it is. But they said, hey, with every purchase of something or other, you get a free cup. And I was like, you're just trying to get rid of these cups, aren't you? He says, yes, we are.
Oh, yes. Yes, we are. Yes. So Charlie, let's see. These are the last film we have really is How to Train Your Dragon. We don't know what else we're gonna get from a popcorn bucket, schedule. Right. So Fantastic Four, will we get one with that? Will there be one with Superman?
Yeah.
Will there be?
I will definitely say if they put out a Thing head, that one I will purchase because Thing is a top 3 Marvel character for me. I love him. So the same way I got my Sam Wilson Captain America helmet, even though I didn't care for the film. It's Captain America. What am I gonna do?
How much do you think that Thunderbolts drink combo popcorn bucket thing is? So you get a drink and the popcorn with it. How much do you think?
So you do think the asterisk thing? Are you talking about the asterisk thing being a drink bucket? Because they both look like popcorn. I guess
that's actually a drink. But like you can drink out of that thing.
Why is
because that's a straw coming out of it.
That's what I was trying to say. So is it 2 separate things? The asterisk is a cup and the bucket is a bucket?
Well.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you're done, you can put that asterisk back in the bucket. So it's a drink and a bucket together, and you take them apart.
Without exception, so far, these buckets are all $30. So it's $30. That's going to be my guess. But again, where are these? And I'm scrolling back up to the top of the article.
It's at Regal. This is the asterisk at Regal.
See, there are no Regal theaters in Michigan. I looked, or at least
let's see. This is saying Jaws buckets at Draft House. So that's the only place you get. I have one about 20 miles from my house. Guess how much the Jaws bucket is?
$30.
$45.
Boom.
That's how much the asterisk is too. $45.
But again, they will never be seen here. So what a tease. But if you hit the interwebs, if you've got a theater like that, you can just walk in and snag one of these. You don't have to be seeing a movie. And in a lot of ways, it's almost better to do that if you know that.
Can you? I think to even go inside, you can have a ticket.
No, walk in the front door of a theater? No. I don't think so.
No, to even get to because they don't even let you through. Unless you buy your ticket.
Well, I've never had that issue because I simply walk up to the counter and say, because you can buy a ticket at the counter as opposed to buying. Oh,
they sell them at the counter versus just concessions?
Correct. Yeah, they do.
Oh, I never bought anything at a ticket counter other than tickets.
They never. Oh, yeah. I mean, the days of having 2 separate ones at our theater, they used to have 2 identical setups, but in leaner times they've collapsed it down to just one. But yeah, it's all one and the same. Tickets.
Oh, not ours.
Yeah.
Tickets is over here. Concessions is over there. So
it's about. I
don't think they're selling the buckets there.
It's about streamlining. But yeah, for example, yes, that's what I've done. So I have stopped by, and I made the mistake when we went to go see episode 3. Not that was the mistake when we went to go see it. That was what we saw. We went to go see that. We went to go see episode 3 earlier this week.
Did they do buckets for episode 3?
They had Vader heads that were drink cups. You see Todd rolling.
Don't have enough Vader helmets.
But here's the thing: when I saw that because I was making a sales call there because I sell I do food equipment, so I stopped in to make sales call and I saw those were over there and I'm like, maybe I should go pick one up, and I didn't. Came back from the movie, they were gone. So limited quantities, except if it's a Venom cup, and then you can just simply dispose of it if you need to. So anyway,
how much are they going for on eBay? That's the real question.
Very true. All right, so we got a 1-2 shot of X-Men articles. Ryan Reynolds and Mr. Hugh Jackman swept the world last year with Deadpool and Wolverine, a movie that everybody loved. And now Ryan Reynolds is talking about working on another Marvel project where he will not be the star. Now, it's interesting he's working on it, but what exactly does that mean? He's a producer. I didn't really strike him as a writer. So I'm curious what his involvement is per se, but he is exploring ideas for a new MCU movie that would pool Deadpool with several other X-Men. So Todd, I'll hand it over to you, the X-Men guy. What do you think about him being involved in this fashion and having it be Deadpool and a cadre of X-Men, but not an X-Men film?
How that works. I mean, because right now, Deadpool has always been the central character with friends, Deadpool and friends. In this instance, I mean, can you just have Deadpool be along for the ride like you would have with other characters? You know, is he okay with just having quips? I just feel like it's like a toddler would keep saying, "Hey, daddy, look at me. Hey, daddy. Hey, daddy. Hey, daddy." Like, I don't know how you manage his mania. Yeah, it seemed like a hard thing to do.
I mean, obviously it was, he shared the spotlight in the other films with Colossus, Cable, Domino, Negasonic, Kamiko. Most recent film, it was Gambit, who are getting back for Doomsday. We know that for a fact. Wolverine, obviously, Daphne Keena's X-23, Wesley Snipes, Elektra, Jennifer Garner, so on and so forth. So it's been done, but he was still, driving the bus, as it were. So this article from Geek Tyrant does state this is not related to what's being pinged as another project being written by Michael Leslie that is meant to be the formal coming out ball, as it were, the debutante ball for the X-Men in the MCU. So, I mean, Ryan Reynolds he's on fire. I mean, that movie was enormous. A lot of people said, save the MCU before something else came, crashed it and said, now we've lost the MCU. Now we saved it again. And we'll be moving on to obviously talk about if we think Thunderbolts has saved it. But I mean, I can imagine it will be enjoyable. He's not disappointed us since Green Lantern. Ryan Reynolds, that is.
I mean, there's one thing I think they could do, but he would have to be the star again. Or maybe not the star, but he would definitely be like the central Deus Machina for it, which would be Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. We've seen that. But I don't think you can do that so early. Are you going to really kill everybody right when he does run him back? I don't think so. The other thing would be like an X-Force, where he is not in the whole thing. It's not going to have Deadpool in the title, but he will be in it. But it'll be like just a joke. He's only in like 25 minutes of it. Like, we bring him on as a role, and then he has to go off, get some chimichangas. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. That's the only way I can see it happening. Yeah, I
don't know. This kind of feels like a Star Wars project that might be like and go away, but we'll see. So to jump over, Todd, you work for a big corporation, so you're aware of corporate citizenry. You worry about making a multi-step, multi-year plan. Kevin Feige,
long range plans. Yep, it's your 10-year roadmap. You have your 3-year. Basically more strategic plan.
Back up. He's getting corporate, folks. It's Corpo Todd.
Yep.
But Mr. MCU, Kevin Feige, the master and commander of Marvel, these last 25 years at some level or another, he's been involved, is saying that there is a 10-year plan for the X-Men in the mix. We know Marvel's trying to right the ship, and it was funny. I watched something that made reference to Secret Invasion again, which was the abomination of a Marvel show from 2 summers ago. That was really, to me, represented the MCU as its absolute lowest. And now they're trying to claw their way back up. Deadpool and Wolverine was a step in the right direction. We're getting into a new phase. We have a film out now. We have another one coming out in a few months. The quote, and this was an article with the Wall Street Journal, Feige is leading an internal overhaul aimed at getting the studio back on track, the 10-year plan. So, Todd, what does a 10-year plan for the X-Men look like for you?
I assume it's going to be like what he mapped out for the MCU to get to
the Avengers.
The Avengers. I think that's where it'll be. Like, what is
it was like a 5-year plan in that case, but yeah.
I would say that's where he's looking, because it's reason it's a 10-year plan is because you're not going to have X-Men films every year. It just, I don't know how they do it, right? So you're going to have maybe every 2 years. So then you have maybe 5 films, maybe where X-Men show up in other things. So you're basically building that, and then maybe you have some like MCU series, which are other things too that could then layer on more details of the X-Men. I am curious how they're going to do this, but I'd rather have less good than more bad. quality, and they even mention that this is the post-quantity era of Marvel, which makes total sense.
Yeah, because
if
they do bubble it up to talk. Remember, Dark Overlord Bob Chapek of Disney and his demands for content, which led us to the toilet. So
yes. So if we truly aren't getting a X-Men focused film until post Doom, then at that point, I'll be interested to see where they take it, where the X-Men are started, and where they want to go. But I could see the approach of X-Men where you have like the books, Uncanny X-Men, then maybe you have X-Factor, X-Force, or something like that, where you maybe have two teams and focus on them. Maybe that's how they would approach it. But I could see them doing something like that. Maybe even having like a New Mutants where you have like the oldies and the class. Maybe one focus more on the school again,
right?
With younger mutants, that could be fun.
I will wrap this up by saying some names have been thrown out. Sadie Sink is Jean Grey, which was debunked. She's going to be in Spider-Man 4. We have a Jack Champion and Harris Dixon. Don't know those names. Have been eyed for Cyclops. Ayo Debiri, who I see her face, can't name a name. She was in The Bear. She was one of the chefs in line to play Storm. Julia Butters could be Kitty Pryde. Don't know her name, but Margaret Qualley, a contender for Rogue. Hunter Schafer might be Mystique, and believe it or not, Denzel has been named as a possibility of Master of Magnetism, Magneto. So little slip, but it's Denzel.
That would be cool. I don't know. I mean, has Denzel done any?
No
IPs?
I don't know that he has.
He's done adaptations of things, but I don't.
Yeah, Javier Bardem as Mr. Sinister. I mean, he's a heavy hitter. He's a heavy hitter.
Man, I think that could work really well. We haven't had Mr. Sinister on screen. That would be a good take. Basically, someone that's tracking. If they went the approach of the Summers bloodline and Sinister playing along with that, maybe adapting kind of like we got with the Goblin Queen. Right. And more of that. We don't need Dark Phoenix. Let's do some other storylines that could be really cool. And at that point, there are some new modern storylines which would be amazing. But we'll see if those happen. But you know what, Charlie? I will probably be celebrating my 60th birthday by the time we actually see
these as
more than one X-Men film.
Elder statesmen. But you know what? As long as we still have eyeballs, we can see movies. And if we lose our eyeballs, we can hear them or have them described to us by our children and grandchildren.
Yes.
But anyway, with that is the wrap of the news. Got to get out of here. Todd, you're not in the Geek Easy this week. You appear to be in some funky New York dive. So we both got to get a ride over to the Geek Easy. My Uber XQ714, the Batman symbol, has arrived. AM radio playing, and I hear this very familiar advertisement.
Hey, Secret Friends Unite, let me tell you about Zencastr. We use them for our show, and now they're supporting us. Zencastr is now the all-in-one solution making podcasting easy. It's the ultimate web-based podcasting solution. Provides high-quality audio and video podcast production and hosting. With a full suite of professional tools, podcasters can seamlessly record, produce, and publish studio-quality content, all from one dashboard. Being a creator has never been easier. And we chose Zencastr because of the ease of use, high quality output, and it makes it super easy for our guests to come on. We had multiple solutions we tried before, and Zencastr has just been the best fit for us. Why Zencastr? It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sounds and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. Have you ever worried what you sound like? Zencastr's post-production process makes you sound buttery smooth. It automatically removes those ums and ahs in your recording. It removes those awkward pauses in conversation too. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with the click of a button. So if you're interested in making an easy, high-quality podcast just with the click of a browser button, Go to Zencastr.com/pricing and use my code SFU1. You'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Now back to the show.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, cover band's playing, drinks are poured. And let me tell you, it was, I've been behind on a lot of media, but I have been, but you know what, when a show is once a week and it is, must-see TV, it's easy to make the time for it and just enjoy it and just enjoy that feel, which I really miss that era of must-see TV. Next thing you can talk to your friends.
You can wrap up your day. And again, in this case, we're talking about The Last of Us, which is on that Sunday night at 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Central. So it's easy. Like, I'm done with my weekend. I'm going to watch this, then I'm going to go to bed. And so, you're able to plug in and do that. So, but we're doing a come down from one of the most dramatically gripping episodes of television I've ever seen. And
yes, no spoilers still. No spoilers.
The question,
definitely watch it.
We try to operate on like a 2-week window here for this kind of stuff. You know, I'd like to think that if someone's watching something and they haven't done it within 2 weeks, then you're going to get spoiled somehow. You can't, it's almost impossible to avoid. So anyway, all right, episode 3, take us through the non-spoilery parts.
So yes, for those who did watch, you understand that the previous episode 2 ended on a crazy note.
Yep.
And like, how are you going to follow up that for that to be fulfilling and really carry you forward? And episode 3 felt like an epilogue episode, or when you got Game of Thrones or something like this is the episode where you kind of feel like, what is the new status quo?
The aftermath.
And we're in a rebuild era, and can we move on? What's going to happen? And not only did we get kind of a feel for, I think a lot of people know this is where the season is going now, which is cool. But we also got some really good character development along with some certain characters. But now we were also introduced to a new threat and a new group of people, which I feel like I'm curious how this is going to land, because I will say this, in the video game, part 2, there was a part of the game I felt like was just like thrown in. I'm like, I can see there's more to this, but it was just so short that, and I feel like this is where they're going to build that out, which is a good thing.
So so you're right. We do have a new paramilitary organization. Don't need to get into it. And we do find out, certainly through watching the trailer for episode 4, which will have aired by the time you're listening to this, where we have a new, very kind of almost Negan-ish like character in the form of Jeffrey Wright. And it looks like we see him in present time. Some of the clips made it look like it was a flashback, so maybe we're getting his story at the same time that we're introduced to him. But it's also part and parcel to some things we've seen in the trailers, where there's a physically abused person who's naked in a corner that he's standing over them. Obviously, he's been throttling them, torturing this person. So he's not a nice dude. I don't know that means he's the head guy. I don't know if it means he's muscle. I don't know if he's Negan or if he's one of the other guys comparatively to The Walking Dead. But this new paramilitary group seems very terrifying, and they're massive. Our people riding off into the sunset to revenge are gonna get a little bit more than they bargained for.
Yeah, and as you remember, like the first season, you knew there was very strict military organization that were trying to keep the world together.
The Fedra.
And our players all went to the West Coast.
Right.
So when we did that, so we've been kind of away from, except for, when we landed in our Kansas City, Kansas City, that was bad too, but still not completely tied into as much reality as so the East Coast, where it's more, formulated, a lot more people closer together. So it is interesting to now seeing parts of the world being a little bit different. Right. And so we're going to see this happen. There are certain parts of this where it was really cool the way it was laid out. So we are going to see some really cool stuff, I think, and I'm glad this is happening. And this is the way you're going to make this show go on for at least, another season after this.
Yeah.
What they do if it goes beyond that, Charlie, I'm guessing they will just say, going to.
I hope it doesn't turn into Game of Thrones where they're just willy-nilly.
Well, the Neil Druckmann, who basically created the games, created the story. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming he's got ideas. Anybody just realizes the video game is going to take me 7 years. Yeah. So The last one was finished in 2019, 2020.
Okay.
So by 2027, we might get the third game if he wants to make one. But he's already announced another game that's coming out, and it's completely different, Charlie. It's an intergalactic. It's called Intergalactic, and it's in space, and it's crazy, and it's weird and fun. So
it's the part of this, The Last of Us in Space, or
no, not at all. Because before this, they made the Uncharted series of games.
Oh, so very good. Okay,
they don't always make. I mean, before that, they made Crash Bandicoot. So,
okay, well, I would love to see Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg and Crash Bandicoot show up. What do you think? Could they be the people?
I think it all works.
Behind it all
works.
Could they
even
be
in?
Yeah,
even in Uncharted,
people at
the video game, they played like the characters like Nathan Drake and his daughter were playing Crash Bandicoot in the game, which was so fun. So yeah, I am so excited to see where this goes. It's 7 episodes long this season. The next season is 7 episodes as well, which is just like, wow, we're getting shorter seasons, and I don't know if we're going to see this again until 2 more years. I hope we could get this every year, but I know that's probably it's just not realistic anymore.
And do keep in mind the strike was in the middle of it, so that threw off literally everything. So we'll find out. But again, over on Max, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central.
4 more episodes left. That's just sad after we waited so long for the last season. But you know what? Here we go. Let's enjoy it while it lasts.
Take it what you got, and you can always go back and enjoy it again, which we did.
Exactly.
So, all right, we got kind of a lock it in here because we were both out today enjoying Free Comic Book Day.
Yes.
So, Todd, you have a new favorite shop. I know that you chatted with the owner. You dropped that over on our network feed with the spotlight. So, tell us about your experience over there at that shop.
Yeah, so Story Arc, if you want to, it's live now with ads. It's free for Patreons if you want our spotlight on Story Arc. It's a new comic shop in Savage. It's basically 2 miles from my house. It's great. The owner is fantastic.
Wait. Don't tell them that. They'll backtrack it and find your house. They'll go in a 2 mile radius.
Please don't.
And track you down.
But the dude said, I've got plans for Free Comic Day, and he did. I got swag. I got a hat for the shop. Everybody got that. I got a water bottle. I got a bag. Lots of fun things. So very cool. But the comics, he had lots of great Free Comic Book Day comics. He had people dressed up as Spider-Man and a Captain America costume. He said he actually bought the costumes for them, and he said there's whatever version he did, it was pretty good. I looked at the costumes, and they looked pretty sharp. We took pictures with them. It was great. People bought copies of my wife's books, the Teen Titan Goes book. So we had a good time. We got some pictures. I did buy some comics. I did buy another one of the I got the Avengers 25
I got in
cover we talked about.
Yeah, I got in the last 4 that I wanted. Roger, my guy at Argos, got those for me. So what in a perfect world, what I'd love to do is pick up more so I could actually do the fold around.
Yeah, put them all the way out and have them go out.
So you can see two side by side. But as it is, I have 8 of them now, and I think 8 will make a nice run, and I can use my imagination.
Sure.
But I love them.
Do they connect, or are you doing ones that don't connect?
I do not. I picked the ones that featured characters.
Lay them on the floor and see what happens, Charlie. We'll see if the magic happens. So, so I got there's a new version of Thundercats out. So I got the first trade of that.
Nice.
So it's kind of cool. The art's really great, and basically it looks like they're doing some fun things with Thundercats with new characters, new creations. That's kind of cool. The other thing I bought was a hardcover called Infinity 8, and the logline is Volume 1, Love and Mummies. It's kind of a cool cover. It was $20, and I'm like,
nice.
And I'm like, it's very high quality for $20 versus like the Thundercats was $20 and just a floppy. This is hardcover, 4 issues, and it's 20. So I'm like, why not? So that's part of the thing.
Licensed properties. That's how they get you.
You go to Free Comic Book Day, you get some free stuff, but you also buy stuff. So they had 15% off all of their stuff, which was great. So new comics, whatever. Other shop I went to, which was Issues Needed. We just went over there because Chris wanted to find some other things. So they had deeper discounts on things. But that was a tale of 2 comic shops. Love those people to death, but it is a comic book shop that I feel like it's a hoarder owns it. You are going through thin aisles, not a lot of room. It's not great. But,
similar experience. Similar experience here, but I'll talk about that in a minute.
But I was going to say the highlights of the free issues that I saw were there's a Thundercats Powerpuff Girls crossover. Very cool. Very odd. There's a weird Jimmy Olsen Super Cyclopedia which is kind of weird. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
But I'm going to find out. They also had old issues of like the old, like it was the Halloween free comic book day.
I saw that.
So there's a weird Fantastic Four Dr. Doom one, which was where he's riding a Doom Triceratops or a Tyrannosaurus Rex. There's also a Kylo Ren comic for free comic book day. There's a Venom Bedlam. Don't know what that is. Oh, that's from last year too. Spider-Boy. I don't know anything about Spider-Boy. There's a Phantom comic I got, Chris, or Charlie, that's really kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else is big? Oh, Post Malone wrote a comic called Big Rig. Don't know anything about it, but apparently people are very excited about it. Street Fighter versus Rival Schools.
Oh my God. Todd's got all the hottest, kitschiest comics. Look at it.
Planet Death. Don't know what that is. I also got, this was a cute one though. Transformers, worst bot ever. I don't know what this is about. Very cute. Apparently his name is Ballpoint, so he transforms into a pen. That's fun. Then Amazing Spider-Man Ultimate Universe.
Yes, yep. Did get that one myself.
Yep. Energon Universe. Very cool. There's Hound in the corner with somebody with a beard.
That's clutch. Was he just giving away one copy of everything? Because most of the shops, at least I was aware of, had limits as far as like, hey, 5 books. But I went to
two shops.
Gotcha.
2 shops, Divided and Conquered, and Chris, my wife, went with us. I gave her the books that she wanted to take these separately so we don't look like we're hoarding. So we made it out fine. Nobody said don't take more than you deserve. So they didn't say anything because we also bought stuff. And then the last comic I got was called All In. That was for me. The wife also got stuff that was more on the kiddie side, more, that kind of stuff. So great time seeing everybody. Although I would say a story arc, far better experience for just a better shop. They had a lot more fun things planned, and it just felt like you could explore and see things. Issues needed more of a traditional experience. A lot more people were there, but man, it was like, Charlie, it was like dollar bins, things everywhere. It's like, how the hell did you find anything?
It's very similar because I have 3 shops that I favor here in town. There's Argos, which has always been my shop. I've shopped there since I was 10. New ownership. That was the first place we went. It's also closest to us. So we went there. It's Roger and his wife Crystal that own it. It was a kind of a 5-book minimum. Or 5-book maximum. We were there right away. I had some other stuff that I wanted to grab, so we did a divide and conquer. I wanted to get the back half of a set of Marvel trading cards. He had a bin. I just hadn't flipped through it, so April went through, picked out the cards I needed. So of a 200 card line, I'm missing now 14 of the cards, where before I was missing more than half.
What did they go for?
I had a deal with him that I paid $50 for the set, so it was $25 and $25 because I already had the first half. But generally, 50 cents a card is pretty typical.
Not bad.
Yeah.
What do you put them in? Do you put them in like the? I got like the pages with the individual. Like is it?
It's the 9 slots. Yeah, just like
You do back to back, or you let them lie.
Nope.
Front only.
Yeah, front only, because the back has, for that 90, this was the 92 series, which was the last of the 3 series of Impelled. They have stats on the back like baseball cards, like here's, energy projection and strength or whatever.
How will you know what they do if you can't see it?
Exactly. Yeah, so that's what wouldn't bother. So I did that. I picked up that Amazing Spider-Man / Ultimate Spider-Man. And again, all of the books, really, especially the Marvel books, just gave you a little taste of something that is in the mix right now. So ASM volume, God, they're up to volume either 7 or 8 right now. They launched volume 7 or 8 with the new number 1 last month. And it's funny, I have issues 1 and 2, even though they're not on Marvel Unlimited, because I bought these variant covers, which is what you were just talking about with the official guidebook, the Avengers one that you got with I'm forgetting the guy's name, the chibi style. So now I have 1 and 2. So what's nice is that the Marvel books do come with the code, so you punch that in, and then it's on your Marvel Unlimited. You can go ahead and read it.
I completely forgot about that. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Do they still do that?
Yeah, they sure do.
Where's it at? End of the book?
You flip through. It's in the last quarter of the book. There's a peel off. Yep, see it. So go and
man, Charlie, I won't have a mint book anymore if I do that though.
The book, buying a comic book is like buying a car. It's worth 20% less when you take it out of the store.
What is even going on? I looked at mine. There's nothing there.
You know what? This is so weird that you mentioned that. They do it 2 ways. You can either get the little peel off thing that I mentioned, and with the books I got last time, some of them you have to send an email to get a code, and I have no idea why.
They do it two ways. Scan the QR code here or go to marvel.com, redeem, act
exactly.
now. It's so hard. Yeah, it's like, there's no thing.
It's very onesie-twosie. So the ASM one was like that. The Fantastic Four, they have a new number one. I think it's volume 9 because I was looking it up. Comes out this summer. So we got 5 or 6 pages of that. And then backed it with Giant Size X-Men number 1 new, which told kind of a cool story that I would like to follow through about, but I won't spoil it. You should go pick it up. Next week, and again, this came up in our conversation with Mark Guggenheim, Volume 3 of Marvel Star Wars comes out. This had a portion of the first issue of that, along with backing stories of 2 other of their ongoing series. And then I did grab the Young Jedi Adventures. Mark and I have talked about that over in Holocron. It's very fun. And I ripped through that. The back half of that was Avatar, which I didn't bother with. It's just not my scene. And yes, also at Argos, I did grab a couple of things out of the dollar bin. I had those 4 issues with the Marvel Universe cover that Roger had.
I saw Secret Wars number 1 just sitting there for I think for $1.
Was it the facsimile version or was the original? It couldn't have been the original.
No, it was the original. It was the original.
Must have
been there for 75 cents. I'm like, yeah, not great shape. I was going to say I did get some other ones. I'm not sure where they're here, but I did get that Fantastic Four one, a couple others. It is interesting because of these books, there a lot of times Marvel and DC will be like, "This is our new push. What's coming?"
This is
which is cool. Yeah, which I like. And yeah, I mean, it was a great time, and I hope it really does something. When I talked to Lee, when I interviewed him about like, "Hey, do the movies really help you get people in the door?" He goes, "Well, how would you feel like if you just watched, Game of Thrones?" And then you went to the store to buy the books, but it was like, the books aren't anything like that. Right. Would you like to read those? And it's like, okay, but it's 5,000 page long. Yeah. Right. So he feels like it's okay. Yeah. But not great because the stories aren't always great. So,
kind of better than nothing, I suppose. And the second shot we shot over to, and I had a feeling it would be this way because it has been in the past, was Tardy's. Gavin, Indiana, here locally on that shop. But that is it's a smaller shop, and they now actually have a second location in another town, Allegan, Michigan, which is about 40
What
minutes
is the
away.
origin of that name?
That was it was Deb and Kirby Tardy that founded the shop back in the 70s. So, yeah, that is a last name.
Okay.
That's a name, yeah. And Deb, it's funny, if you go back in a very early episode of our show, Deb did a phone-in on a topic. So we actually have Deb has been part of our show. They're retired now. They sold to Gavin, Indiana.
On the hotline?
On the hotline, yeah. The one that Batman picks up.
And Dr. Doom called on that one time.
Exactly. But yeah, I spun by there. There was a line to get in to the actual store, but they do a very smart thing. They have an outside, they have a couple of outside tents. One of them has all of the comics, but they're all have a paperweight on top because it was pretty windy. I didn't see anything blow away, but they do have a side tent of 50% off items, which is just shit they're trying to get rid of, including a lot of more recent comics, which I had no interest in, and bits and pieces of junk. I milled around that second one. I said hello to a couple of people that I knew, and then we left. There was also people milling around from 501st and Mando Mercs, but their shop, I like their shop, but you really don't want to go there when there is a large crowd because it's a narrow rectangle. Gavin, Indiana, very nice people. I'd love to pick through their bins, but they do have an anniversary sale. They do an anniversary sale.
That's personal, Charlie. You're going to pick through their bins? Oh my goodness! Ask permission first.
I was going to pick through their garbage bins, but they had about 25% off, which is all well and good. But yeah, I'm in the point where I'm kind of hunting and pecking, looking for certain issues. So and the third shop, which is on the north end of town, they didn't have any sales. Which is fine. But they also have dollar bins as well. But I just soon go on a weekday when nobody else is there because there is no other benefit. I didn't need to get all the comics. I got the ones I wanted. I also did pick up the Energon one, which had that story that you described. And it actually picked up where the most recent issue left off, issue 6 of G.I. Joe, where you saw Clutch, who is the driver of the Vamp. It was the first G.I. Joe Jeep. You've seen him before. Meets up with, I was going to say Scout, but it's Hound. Hound is the one who's the Jeep. So and then
there is no Scout.
Yeah, who is Scout then? No idea.
Good guess. I don't know. GoBot, Charlie, that you're pulling in?
But I would say, Todd, read that first story because they introduce a character in there that is
gotta get caught up, Charlie.
No, I'm just talking about the comic that's in your hand. Because there's
really? Okay.
Yeah,
Is it going to spoil me if I'm not caught up?
No, not at all. It actually has almost nothing to do with the regular series, but it's they sneak in a new character introduction that is a nod and a wink to a figure of a beloved franchise that Hasbro acquired, and they released a figure with the G.I. Joe 25th anniversary series back in 2007. You'll pick it up. I think that'll be fun for you. So yeah, excited about the new Star Wars comic. So this had the first 5 pages of that. I've actually also been reading. There were three miniseries that leading up to this new series that cover the immediately after Return of the Jedi, which is also interspersed with books and different stuff. All the continuity of Marvel. But I've been enjoying those, and then this just continues with that. Luke has a new kind of sidekick who's a rebel pilot. So they're off on adventures together, and it's kind of cool. I
think you said a side piece. I'm like, yes, Luke, get some.
You know what? It wouldn't even be a side piece. Luke doesn't even have a piece. How can he have a side piece? I feel so bad for him. That's what I said.
I gotta love it.
That's what I said. I was flipping through it, and I was telling April about it. I'm like, I'm reading this miniseries, and he's flying around with this pilot, and she obviously survives because she's in this new issue. I said, are they going to hook up? Please let them hook up, because I feel so bad for Luke.
You don't want Jedi to become like priests, because that does not go well.
No, I really don't think so. But anyway, so that wraps up.
I was going to say one last thing, Charlie. When you're done with your free comics and you need a place to put them, go find your like local small library that you see in neighborhoods. Put those comics in there. They're not worth anything to collect. Yeah. Put them in there. Make sure they find a good home. Or if you know people with kids, give them those comics.
Yeah, I connected with my buddy Derek, our figure dude, and I know that he made it to Tardy's later in the day, so it probably wasn't too crazy. But yeah, I offered him my Young Jedi comic just in case when he got there, because he has kids if they didn't have it, and they're big Star Wars people. So, but yeah, we'll see. I'm not just going to throw them away because that's nasty. Something good will come of them. But anyway, all right, a quick little 1-2 punch so we can move on. I was traveling most of this week, and I'm trying to catch up on my Star Trek episodes to record Code 47 next weekend. But we've been following the show on Peacock. It is it just feels like a spiritual cousin. Did you ever watch the Mayor of Easttown that had?
I never did. I've heard it's really good, though.
It is. So this is in that vein, set in the mean streets of Philadelphia with people who really, really practice that Pennsylvania accent. But the star is Amanda Seyfried. Siegfried, not Siegfried.
Seyfried.
Siegfried
and Roy.
Yeah, exactly. As a cop, who struggles with family. Yeah,
I have seen the trailer for this.
Yeah, anytime you turn on Peacock, it's featured. But she is.
Is she real? Is her sister real or not?
No, right? Well, I don't really think they've really posited if she's real or not. But you can't find her.
Oh,
yeah, her sister, her estranged sister is a drug abuser, possibly also a sex worker, but she's living on the street. And so Amanda is a single mother. Her baby's daddy, ex-husband, is a complete piece of trash. Her dad is also a pivotal character, but he's pretty grumpy.
Good.
Yeah, and it's all about her conquest of money. But it's just so funny when she gets herself into scraps, which happens. We're on episode 4 or 5. When she gets herself into scraps, she's like 5'2" and 98 pounds. There's this one scene where she has to break up a domestic dispute, and she motions at the guy with her baton, and he just grabs her and smashes her into a wall and is choking her, and she finally gets her taser out and gets her down. And I'm just like, but I was like, she walked in without her weapon drawn, did not have it in battery, was not ready to protect herself.
No taser ready to go.
Yeah, I can't believe she was. Yeah, so that was. But yeah, it's just like. But the taser got the job done. But I'm like, I've known cops and I've had a lot of pistol classes. You wouldn't enter. I was
gonna say a lot of interactions with cops. Charlie, what are you doing? I've been tased. I've been,
Nope, not beyond. What didn't we have a cop related experience back in the day? Oh, it's when I got gassed to the MSU riots in '99, but you weren't there. I was just walking by. I was an innocent bystander. Sort of.
I was just walking by, officer. I wasn't trying to throw a keg or throw a fire, put a couch on fire.
I wasn't throwing a keg through this window. And what was this?
Nope.
What was Cedar Creek? What was the Skeevy apartment complex down there?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And
We've all
then
been there.
April steered me into a show this morning that she's been watching. She's like, "Yeah, you might want to give it a try." Called You, which apparently started out on the Lifetime Network.
Oh no!
Like,
is that the one where women are in love with the serial killer guy?
I've only watched like 3 episodes, and it's been on for 5 seasons of 10 episodes each. And she's like, "Well, we don't have to keep watching if you don't want to."
It's sketchy. It's sketchy as hell. I hear about these women are like, he's so dreamy.
Well,
God.
It's one guy, and
Yes.
he's stalking. He is stalking a woman. And he's not a good dude. And he hasn't come right out and said he's a serial killer, but I feel like it's going that way. So,
Charlie. In every episode, every season, he finds a new woman to kill. And it's just like these women are like all about this dude. I'm like, this isn't helping anybody's cause it's like falling in love with Hannibal, right?
Yeah.
Like, Hannibal, you know what? I can change him. I can make him stop eating brains.
He's a good guy. So anyway, yes, I'm not really sold on it. Might give it a couple of episodes, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we have so damn many shows we watch that it could fall
Absolutely.
fall off by the wayside. But anyway, all right. Well, that gets us out of the Geek Easy. The time has come to get out that Air Qantas app. We've got to buy those 2 coach tickets on Air Qantas to get down to the land down under. Hologram Tina and the mutants do await for us to tell them about the Thunderbolts. Ding!
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. The mutants have been gathered for a topic or game to be entertained. And this week, we are reviewing Thunderbolts * best soccer team ever.
Best wishes.
I'll just leave it there.
Best wishes.
There we go.
Yes.
And this movie, we will be doing it just for you folks. We're going to do spoiler free for the first part. And then the second half will be in spoiler territory. We'll talk about the end credits, the mid credits, and any Easter eggs.
Side credits. Yes.
Stay for just to see if you should see this film. And then after that, join us back again to get all the fun bits you might have missed.
It's entirely possible we might put time codes in there, but that is not my job. That's
you just have to remind me, Charlie. If you remind me or you put them in there, I will mention it. So there you go.
Always just deflect. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
But this film dropped over in merry old England on April 22, and we got it here in the States on May 2nd. I actually saw it on Thursday night, which is May 1st. Running time about 126 minutes, which makes it one of the shorter films in the MCU world. But
not a tight 90, unfortunately. Sorry, folks.
Yeah. They did, but still, I think they made a good use of time that they got. Budget of $180 million, currently tracking domestically about 32. Which is
for Friday. That was the Friday. No, that's what it's made so far. 30, yeah.
I did, and I already entered it in my little column on our tracker sheet.
About 90, between probably 80 and 90, maybe for the whole weekend.
Right. So the days of the uber duber Marvel blockbuster, it's not the same, but it's better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick.
Absolutely. Do you want me to go into some of the credit stuff, Charlie, for you?
Who is our director? Jake Shearer.
Okay. Jake Schreier is the director, primarily a TV director, but also you'll love this. He also directed a lot of Kanye West videos, Justin Bieber videos, Chance the Rapper videos. He did that show Dave. Remember the Jewish white dude who's a rapper, Dave? That was on that Hulu show.
Why,
he did
God,
The Minx. The Beef. He directed one episode of Skeleton Crew. He also directed the video or a series with Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco. So at this point, basically, he's a journeyman. The only movie he really did before then that he directed was Robot and Frank. So there you go. Marvel dipping into, once again, young talent to really do something new and not have to pay a very high-end director. And then from our cast, we've got Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Lewis Pullman, who, did you know that is Bill Pullman's son?
I literally turned to April and said, did you know that's Bill Pullman's son?
There you go. I didn't know that at first. Then I heard about them. Like, okay, Nepo babies, David Harbour, Wyatt Russell, Hannah John Kamen, Ava Starr, who is who?
Well, you haven't said the names of any of the other ones, but she's Ghost.
Oh, that's
From
interesting.
Ant-Man and the
Is
Wasp.
Ghost's real name Ava Starr? I had no clue.
I'll tell you this: Ghost is a male character in the comics. It's an Iron Man villain.
Yes,
she was she is the daughter of Elias Starr, who was Egghead, a classic Avengers villain, who blackmailed Hank Pym when he was down on his luck.
Oh, I thought Egghead was Victor Price and Victor.
You would prefer him that way. I'm actually waiting that they made a figure of him about a year or so ago. I'm waiting for the clearance to sink low enough. I want to buy 2 to have him,
Vincent Price, not Victor Price,
and
Sorry.
to have him, and then also to have him pop the head off, put a Norman Osborn head on. Then he's Dr. Venom from G.I. Joe. Perfect fit.
Perfect. It all works together. Although, there we go. Ghost is in this. Olga Kurylenko, who is playing Taskmaster, who is also a dude in the comics. We got Mel. She is the assistant to the stars.
Right.
Geraldine Veswathan. We got Congressman Gary Wendell Pierce, who's in Elsbeth. He is the chief in Elsbeth, which is great.
Yeah.
Chris Bauer playing Holt. Violet McGraw playing young Yelena. Alexa Swinton playing Anya, Eric Lang playing Houston. Trying to remember who that dude is,
et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, exactly. There you go. And then the only other one, I think, trying to think of anybody else. No, that's about it. Yep. So that's our cast. A lot of folks, and I would say the precursor to this movie, I would say you need to be familiar with Black Widow. You need to be familiar with Hawkeye Season 1. And then Ant-Man 2.
Yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Anything else I'm missing, Charlie?
Obviously, Captain America Winter Soldier plus the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
The series.
Yes.
Yep.
Which gives you the story. And then, as you said, the Black Widow film. And then, Hawkeye, as you had said. And that should about... Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character also plays...
Showed up in many things.
She was in Black Panther 2.
Gotcha. And then she also showed up in Hawkeye to talk to Yelena. That was one of the big things too.
Yeah, that was
was it Hawkeye?
Yeah, it was it was the stinger at the end of Black Widow, but I don't believe she showed up in that movie. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. So this is a mixed bag of like how would you get up to speed if you want to see it? Smaller than other things, but still
smaller.
A pretty self-contained film, which is kind of nice.
Right.
Didn't feel like you had to be as immersed in everything else, which was cool.
Right.
And I will say this film, and Charlie, are you gonna give us like the overall, like right now, in regards to the overall like plot? Are you going to give us that and then walk us through the next steps?
Sure, why not? So yes, we are joined in motion. We joined in motion. Yelena Belova, Florence Pugh's character, has been working for Val, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, for quite some time doing Black Ops. Yelena is on a mission where she has to blow up a lab in Kuala Lumpur, or thereabouts. I think it was in Kuala Lumpur. That was where the building she dropped off of. I'm trying to remember the name of it's not Oscorp, but it's like Oxencorp or some such.
Oxcorp, which I'm like, is that like a flim flam? Like we don't want to use Oscorp at this point. That way.
Yeah, but she is erasing evidence from a lab, and then she completes that assignment. Val sends her off to erase the evidence from another lab, which is in the desert. Is filmed in Utah, so we'll just say that it's Utah. And when she shows up, she's joined by 3 friends who all alternately have a assignment to kill each other. And then while they're jumping around and doing a bunch of flips and shit, they knock a box over and a dude falls out of the box. His name is Bob. He is Lewis Pullman's character. He doesn't know what he's doing there.
Remember, we're going to keep spoilers. Just like we would probably want to keep the plot to a minimum.
He doesn't know. Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing there. They have to get out. In the beginning of the movie, Yelena had visited her foster dad, for lack of a better term. That would be David Harbour's character, Alexei, who is kind of living foot to mouth, doing a limo service and various jobs. But you know what? Yelena's in a bad place. Her life is kind of a bummer because all she does is work, and she doesn't like her work and doesn't really like her life. And she's trying to bond with Alexei, but they've fallen out of touch. So she rolls onto the assignment. Things go wacky. And Bucky, by the way, he is a congressman, and he is kind
which you saw in the last Captain America film. We learned he was a congressman, which is great.
Yeah, we didn't
representing his district within Hell's Kitchen.
somewhere in New York,
Yeah.
potentially. I would say probably Brooklyn. He is hip to the fact that Val is maybe not such a great person. So he is making conversation with Mel, the assistant, and he knows through this and that, he finds himself in contact with the other characters. And they realize they've got to team up to stop Val's big plan. And that's the spoiler-free version of the movie as near as I can recall it.
Exactly. And we're not going to go into plot beats at this point. We will go into the spoiler part. So basically, at this point, we know that there is something that brings a team together. Essentially, you get Flam Flam because Val is a manipulator. She gets puzzle pieces. She basically, well, not puzzle pieces, chess pieces, puzzle pieces, I guess, maybe, whatever she's into.
Checkers,
puzzles, chess, Jenga, whatever her game of choice is that dealing with people. But that's what it is. And then she's got essentially hooked up with various people with, let's put it this way, nefarious backgrounds that she can manipulate to achieve what she wants to do. She's currently the acting CIA director. Is that what her title is?
Yeah, and under investigation from a congressional committee.
She's up for impeachment. Yeah.
By Wendell Pierce's Congressman Gary. Great name. Don't know if that's a real Marvel character. And Bucky is sitting in the audience of this, but he's not directly involved, but he's watching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like that. And the great thing about this, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, obviously a comedic actress, she's doing a little bit more drama in this, which is great. And I like the fact that she corrects the congressman by saying, because she is called Fontaine. She says, no, it's DeFontaine. Kind of like you wouldn't have the director, what is it? The leader of defense calling the leader of fence, which I like.
Secretary of Defense. Yes.
Defense. Yes, exactly. And she's just like annoyed that she's even there. She's like, I'm doing stuff.
I got stuff
to protect
going
you
on.
And you don't appreciate me.
Right.
She is like a standout.
Yeah.
She is a standout.
She's very a la Jack Nicholson's role in A Few Good Men, but with a little softer edge, but just barely.
And she's always got an angle, and she can work it. And I really like it. So, but yeah, I think this is a movie where the characters come before the plot. Yeah. I would think that is the part of this movie. It is. I mean, that's where I want to make sure that people know that if you have been jaded by the previous Marvel movies because it's like so plot centric, they're like, oh my God, I just can't get this. The script, the acting, and the character development are in front because the plot is pretty minimal.
Right.
To your point, Charlie, you talked about what they're doing. And at that point,
they got to get together.
It's not a lot else.
Yeah, they got to get together and do a thing. And when they're engaged in doing the thing, it's very clear that this is being told through Yelena's eyes. She's our main character.
Yes, she absolutely is.
Yeah, because she's the one who has to move. And again, a lot of the things that we talked about, you can observe and extrapolate from the trailers that have been out there. So we do see, Yelena at one point walking into a dark cloud, which is very obvious that she is leading the defense against our main villain, which we'll talk about in a moment here. This is a movie. I will say this: if you are suffering from mental illness or you realize that depression or things like that, this movie deals with that. So if that's something you don't want to hear about or feel like, oh, it's trivialized, like you just could overcome it by punching things or like, you got to deal with it, but there's no therapist involved. Totally get that. So I would say if you're not wanting trivial or trite notes, even though I think this movie does a good job with dealing with that. I think very good. Yeah, absolutely.
But if you'll be pissed off, like, because I'm suffering through that and I don't want them to make it seem like it's an easy battle to win and everybody's okay after that. So I totally get that.
Yeah, I absolutely think that the movie really doesn't make it okay.
I don't think so either. But I think some people could say
the way that I think, like Deadpool, for example, didn't trivialize his problems, or at the end of it, everything wasn't perfect. Because he had a life without meaning, and it was better, but it was like, not exactly. But it wasn't all sunshine.
And take it like this.
Yeah.
I would say the jokes are a cover for a lot of people's pain. Totally get that. But I can, a lot of people say like, well, he's making fun of everything, so I don't take him seriously. I'm not funny, so I can't do the same thing Deadpool does. Yeah. Totally get that. Yeah. That's where we're at. But I think this movie does a lot with a little. The budget is smaller than a lot of the other Marvel movies, which is good.
Right.
And I think they made all of these characters relatable, gave them more time on screen, even with their short time on screen, did a lot with them, which I think is great.
Yeah.
And there are some things I will say that, like, this is going to be spoilers in the back end, but I would say there's some things that they did that I'm like, I don't know if I love the choice, but I think when we got the mid credit and the end credits, I'm like, okay, I think they know what they're doing. So yes, we recognize your pain and maybe their choices, but we're going to have fun with this.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
And then they explain away the Thunderbolts asterisk, which I love. I think maybe everybody has a reason for that. And I really thought this movie did a lot with a little, like I said, and I felt like I wish there was more of this in the Marvel universe than what we've got in the past. So I know this may not hit for everybody, but this movie definitely hit for me. I laughed. I loved everything he did. David Harbour, every time he spoke, I'm like, you are wonderful, sir. You're great. Johnny Walker, holy crap, dude. I love the fact that he is just himself in this movie. Is great. And the only I would say the weakest part of this movie, Charlie, I'll be honest, is Ghost.
Yeah, well,
I felt kind of like,
and again, she wasn't coming from a place where it was a character that had really any kind of development, because her role was now,
first movie,
it was now 6 years ago, where she was kind of a inconsequential villain. You know, she wasn't the and she wasn't a significant character that you ever heard anything else about.
Which is a shame.
Yeah,
that's probably their problem.
Yeah.
They introduce someone and then it's like, we're going to use her again, but we're not going to set her up to be explored in a Disney Plus series, which is like, I get it.
Every other character in here, even to an extent, the Red Guardian, because he was featured in a What If segment, where just enhanced your enjoyment of the character, even though it wasn't directly correlated to this. But yeah, all the other characters, you got to enjoy them, including Bob, our new character. You got to really, he was our pivot point to dig into really what you were talking about, which is a little bit more exploration of mental illness, PTSD, trauma, anxiety, depression, things that the vast majority of people deal with.
Who knew Mel was going to be like the character that got a lot of screen time? Because Mel did get a lot of screen time, which I thought was hilarious.
And she's an actress who I've totally seen in other stuff, but I'm drawing a blank. Do you have
I wouldn't know. But she is, when I say Mel, she is the assistant to, Louis, Val, and kind of an interesting character. Kind of, I appreciate what they did. And you know what? I also appreciate this film didn't have a blue ray from the sky hole.
Yep.
There was no CGI nightmare in this film.
No big monster.
If you were like, I don't want. Nope. I feel like if you hate those in comic book films, I think you'll be happy with how this ends. It ends in a very good note. The fight scenes are great when we got them, like the opening sequence with Yelena, where she's talking about how she's so bored, and yet we see what she's doing. Like, you can be bored and do that stuff.
Yeah, right.
It's pretty good.
Doing
very few. Very few special effects and like CGI monsters in this thing. Right. So you're right. They nailed it.
This was kind of creatureless. I mean, our ultimate villain did end up employing some special effects, but it was not ridiculous. A lot more of it seemed as if it simply could have been practical photography, which a lot of it really was. Yeah. You got a big threat that it was resolved, but it kind of needed to be resolved. I mean, I get that. Because that might have made things difficult going forward. But it wasn't, it didn't have the happiest ending for, it wasn't like everything was just fine for that character at the end of it. That character still has issues that character has, but we'll talk about that in a minute. All right. So do you want to rate? You want to rate and then move on?
Yeah, let's give a rating. So let's give a rating. Let's give the rating out of Red Guardian's Uber rating.
Oh, right.
Right?
Well, yeah,
yes.
We'll have to do it out of 5 because there's 5 stars on an Uber, so not a usual 10.
We can go. Oh yeah, whatever. So well, you just think about it like it's the 5-point scale or the 10-point scale or whatever versus 100. Yeah, so that's fine.
Yes, I would say out of enjoyment, without a doubt, a 4 or 5. Love it, 4.5.
Is that a bad review for Uber driver? I don't know. It's like when you
5. Yeah, so 5 stars. So this is like 4.5. Nothing's perfect.
Well, I just got a car, Charlie, from a Ford dealership, and they said anything below like perfect is a bad review. I always love that when they say that.
Yeah,
like,
they have to say
what are these monsters saying? If you aren't perfect. I mean, it's just dumb.
That is meaningless. But yes, regardless, that's corpo speak.
Okay, so if you said a 4.5, that would be like a 90% or
Sure.
a 9 on a 10-point scale. All right. Okay, great. For me, I would go an 8.75. I don't care about the points. That's fine.
It's a 5-point scale. Keep it 5.
That would be okay. So I'm going to go. I will go a 4.25.
There you go. So we're pretty close.
Because I think it dragged in points, even if it was a short movie. It did drag in a few points.
I had to take
it could have been better. 2
bathroom breaks, which sucks. I even went before the movie, and I had to pop out.
Did you feel like you missed anything? You're like, what did I miss? Not much.
I didn't. Yeah. I missed the part with because I've seen several recap videos with the chicken with the flipping sign. I missed that part, so that's not as
okay.
Sorry.
Got it. Yeah. So it's always remember what was that one app that used to be like this is a safe time to take a potty break?
Oh, they had to do it for Endgame because it was a 3-hour movie. So it's like, go see it right before the Hulk does the thing where he sends Ant-Man to the thing. Quick shout out before we move on. Young Yelena, played by Violet McGraw, who was the little girl in Megan that Megan had to protect, that she was the doll for. Same girl. Yep. Didn't know that. Saw that in one of the like Young Rock Stars or on Screen Crush or something. All right. So let's move on. It's spoiler time at 1:21 and 53 seconds. I'm going to write that down.
Thank you very much. So folks, if you're listening to this, that's time market, come back. It's very easy to get back into it. So good job. Thanks, Charlie, for mentioning that. We can do more of that as long as it's documented because I am dumb and I will forget.
I know. All right. Spoiler time. We get rolling, and I think we can jump right forward to the part where they are all in the Utah vault. We have
what are they doing, Charlie? Why are they all there?
They're all there, supposed to do something because we're following Yelena's the only character we've seen so far, and so we just feel like we're following her journey. She's there to erase evidence in this deep vault, and she walks in and she's all of a sudden gets attacked by John Walker, and then all of a sudden Ghost shows up and attacks John Walker, and then Taskmaster shows up and fires an arrow at Ghost, and Taskmaster pulls her screen back and looks at Yelena, and she says, "Relax, I'm not here for you." And they're all kicking and flipping and kicking and flipping. And then
I love it.
The thing that was coming along that I absolutely knew was going to be the case, because I watched Jimmy Kimmel last week, and the 5 stars of this movie were on Jimmy Kimmel, not the 6th one, is that Ghost uncharacteristically pulls out her gun and shoots Taskmaster in the head, killing her dead. And so I'm like, you knew it was.
She's never fought a bullet. She didn't learn how to deflect a bullet.
She's got a helmet as strong as like a stormtrooper's helmet. Does not deflect against anything. So she's out of the.
Charlie, I will say this: this whole thing reminded me of a wrestling match because it's like everybody has somebody they have to take out.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, who do you team up with to take out that person?
Yeah.
Very fun, very goofy. I love the fact that it's either a shield, which Taskmaster also had a shield and a sword and arrows and all these things. That should be like the person that can't be taken down.
Yeah, it should have been. Yeah. But at the end of it, the whole thing is a flim flam because Val hired all of them to kill a different person in the same group so that they would all kill each other. But
she's basically doing a purge because she wants to remove anything that she could be impeached upon on her old business, which I did put in the OXE group, Charlie. So it's OXE, don't know what it stands for. And then along the way, the hijinks happens when somebody's weapon or shield hits a container
and a guy falls out, and that's Bob.
It's Bob. He's like, I'm here, and it's like
he's just wearing scrubs and he doesn't know what's going on, and he's just a regular dude. And then all of a sudden a switch goes off and the room is going to kick in incinerators. It's going to
2 minutes
destroy anyone who's there. They managed to get their way out of that. I love that there's an exchange once they do get out when Bob is just like, hey, you act like Captain. He's talking to John Walker. You act like Captain America, but you're just basically an asshole, dude. And I laughed. I love it because he is. He's a total douchebag.
Oh, he's a know-it-all.
Yeah.
He's I've been through everything. I'm just a simple guy. Yeah. I got a family and I'm doing the right thing. And you guys are all the jerks. And it's like, really? Okay. So we're doing.
Right.
And it's funny because They do have to team up, even though they don't want to, because Ghost can't get through the wall because there's a vibration center, so they have to figure it out. And I love the banter between them. And you know, like we said, Johnny Walker is just a jerk to everybody. Yep. He's like, "Hey, Bob, why don't you spend less time asking questions or whatever?" And it's like, "Oh my God, I love this. Exactly. I love the banter. And this is fun."
They're a mile underground, so they got to do this thing to get up the elevator shaft. They got to stand back to back and footy their way up, which is adorable.
Oh my God. A great idea until it's a bad idea.
Yeah. Until it's time.
Well, Johnny, you forget Johnny. He tried to jump the whole way up. Yeah, which I'm like, how far can super soldiers jump in the air?
They have like super leg muscles. Probably. I mean, you know,
is that in his file card on Marvel Universe?
I will go look when we get out of here if you'd like, and I will send you a signal chat along with the war plans when we're done here. Okay. But anyway, when they do finally get their way through to the surface, Ox is waiting for them, including Val. They're just going to kill whoever's left over. And they manage to escape. Bob is like, "I'm going to create a diversion. I'll help you guys escape." And so he grabs a gun. He's firing in the air. That means everybody.
This is the funny part. Mel is like in charge. She's the assistant for
she's there too
for Valentina. But she's like not just an assistant. She's actually like planning all of the like bad deal things that they're going to do.
Right.
And she's the one that's tracking. Oh, by the way, they didn't die. And there's a new guy. And who is this guy? And they're like trying to figure out who this guy is. But we're going to take everybody out. Yep. And then Val shows up like, we got to bring these people in because they're supposed to be dead. They aren't dead. And holy crap. Then we find something out about Bob, right?
Yeah.
Along the way.
What about Bob? Everybody turns their guns on Bob and they fire mercilessly, but it shreds his clothes, but there's not a scrap.
But Charlie, it was supposed to be unlethal, right?
Right.
Non-lethal? Unlethal?
Is that the expression they use? But it was very lethal. They shoot him all up, but he's
Holt didn't follow directions.
I know, and I think it's going to come back, and it's not Captain Raymond Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's Chris Bauer, who was in For All Mankind, which we just finished watching. He was an astronaut in that. Not a very smart guy. But yeah, Bob's fine, but he jumps into the sky and he's in the stratosphere, and then he loses power and he falls back to Earth and he knocks himself out. So they cart him up. And meanwhile, when he crashes, our people crash the vehicle that they've stolen. So now they're on foot. They walk all night into the desert until they come up to a road. And meanwhile, Bob is carted off and they're taking him back to New York City. Our people are hiding, and then a limo is driving down the road. Who is it? It's Alexi, because that's what he does. He drives a limo. And Todd, I hope, if I might, that on our Discord, I shared the screen cap from Alexi's video with a number you can call.
Oh, that's great.
You absolutely need check our Discord. You need to call
He doesn't even have an Uber app. He just has a call that you can call for like sketchy sexual encounters with I think it's like what Diddy used for all his parties. He used Red Guardian taxi service with his huge limo.
What had happened previously is that Alexi was driving Val and Mel, and they were talking about their evil plan in the back of the limo. And then from that, he drove out to Nevada.
Well, because Alexi was like, that's the early part of the movie when he's talking with Yelena. She's saying, "I am empty. I have nothing here. What made you happy?" And they finally get through Alexi's like really hardcore exterior. Says, "I was happiest when I was like a hero. I was praised." And he's like, "Hook me up with Yelena. I want to be in that group." And he's like, "I think I can figure this out." So he thinks that like by basically being a driver for her, he'll figure out. And then unbeknownst to himself, he actually gets some intel. He's a little late to get the intel because quite honestly, if his information was going to save them, it was late to the party, but he was there to pick him up.
You saw how fast that car drove. It topped out at 53 miles an hour.
55 miles. A Lincoln Town car from 1992.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So horrible.
He does manage to pick them up. They're driving back in the limo, but this is when Val's forces catch up. But they are saved by Bucky. Bucky shows up on a motorcycle. He's got that great gun from the Winter Soldier that fires the little explosive discs. That he takes out these 3 Humvees, but then he also takes out the limo because he wants to. He then captures our heroes and sequesters them in a location so he can.
I was wondering where that was going to go, and I'm like, yep, he's capturing them. He's using them as evidence, essentially.
And that came from the trailer, their limo blowing up. So I
wasn't sure. Like, are you trying to kill him or what's going on? And
Yeah.
I mean, I assume you'll live through this. That's okay. Right. If they didn't, we got a couple of them.
Yeah. I was going to say, anyway, we killed Taskmaster, so that was all the killing we're going to do. So now, now that the film is splitting into two parts, back in New York, Bob is revived, and Bob's special ability that we've seen so far is that when he touches someone, it creates what's called a shame room. That comes up later in the film where someone
this would be like the ultimate power up for a therapist, Charlie. Right,
where someone relives,
you can feel their pain.
Someone relives a traumatic experience as if they're watching it on the holodeck on Star Trek. Like it's just there, but it's or you're the Ghost of Christmas Past. Like you can see things, but you can't interact with it. And so he does that to Yelena. Accidentally when they're in the vault room. And then he ends up doing it to Val when he's talking to her and he touches her. We see a scene from her childhood where she's
very Italian.
She's very Italian, but her dad was involved with the Italian mob and he wronged the wrong guy. And then she sees him get shot dead by this this Italian mobster over in Italy, who I'm sure has very nice shoes. So that's kind of the source of what turned Val into not such a great person.
Thank God nobody had any like deep dark secrets that were like sexual misconduct bad stuff. Seemed like everybody something bad happened to them versus them doing bad things.
It's a good thing that he didn't go out and touch any of the Congress people. Like they would have had something like that, absolutely. Or Bill Cosby showed up. I don't know. I hope they cut that scene. But at any rate, Bucky is alone with our four characters. He does convince them to go to New York to team up. Val's headquarters is the old Avengers Tower from the previous Avengers film. So before they moved to their, luxury ranch upstate, she has bought it and converted it to the Watchtower because, as it turns out, Val all along has been part of this experiment through the OXE group to create an artificial superhero called Sentry.
So wait, Tony Stark just allowed...
He's dead.
Avengers Tower. What is Gwyneth Paltrow doing?
Hold on. That tower was sold back in Spider-Man: Homecoming in 2017. Don't you remember when Happy's packing
Gwyneth Paltrow, Pepper Potts? What are you doing?
Well, she's already got the check. The government bought it, so the CIA bought it.
What is she doing with Tony Stark's kid? They just left, and you know what, son,
daughter, they're living on the farm. Yeah, they had a daughter. Remember?
I love you. I love you. 100,000 or whatever it says, and we're fleeing. We're moving to Italy because we don't want to be here.
$100,000 million they got for that building. But anyway, yes, Val manages to somehow stabilize Bob, lets him unlock his power. And so now we have our people show up. They're confronting Val in Tony Stark's bar area from Avengers 2012, where Tony had the showdown with Loki and where the film wrapped up when they had finally captured him. And she's talking, and then Bob walks down the stairs, and he is in a very comic accurate cross between the comic accurate costume and basically looks like Homelander from The Boys in gold. But he's wearing gold. He's in gold patterned, like
it's yellow and blue. It's like the maize and blue of Michigan, but he also is like dyed his hair. He said it's a good look. And he's like, I'm not sure. But I mean, it's better than what was he on that he was taking, Charlie? He was on meth or something.
He was a drug addict. We did see that he suffered from the PTSD of domestic abuse as a child, and he turned to drugs, as unfortunately it does happen with people who deal with severe abuse and other kinds of things.
And we saw a little bit of that. He didn't want to talk about his dad and address some of those issues.
Exactly.
Yep, absolutely.
So, the problem is, and then they really do point out the super soldier serum, which Sentry is, a version later of that, is that much like as it was explained to us back in Captain America, the First Avenger by Stanley Tucci's Dr. Erskine, he says, if you're a great man, the serum makes you greater. If you're a bad guy, it makes you really bad, like the Red Skull. And Bob is not, he's not good and he's not bad. He's just damaged. He's emotionally damaged inside. So the serum creates a projection of his emotional trauma as something called the void, where he just becomes a black shadow of himself with scary white eyeballs. And
well, it's funny,
yes.
Charlie. I mean, I will pause you here
Mm-hmm.
because he asks Yelena, like, what do you do with all of the trauma? Because she talks about that. I'm like, I don't have great days. I've dealt with a lot of pain and I don't know what to deal with this. So she basically says, you got to push it all down. And then obviously later on we heard like that is not a great way to deal with things. Because things explode.
It turns into the void. Exactly.
It goes bad. Yep. Yeah. So one of the things that it creates a thing where we just call it the void.
Right.
And that becomes a big part of his personality when he gets his powers is you've got Sentry. And then you've got the void.
Right. And one, we find out that one cannot exist without the other. But anyway, Sentry does quickly dispatch our heroes without killing them, thankfully. He does, yank off Bucky's arm, but Bucky's able to put it back on, no damage. And they all leave peacefully. And then Val, if we take a step back, Val and Mel have set up effectively a kill switch within Sentry so that if he gets out of control, they can shut him down. Got to do that. And Sentry gets a Homelander moment when he said, well, I don't really understand why I should take instructions from you. I'm a god and you're not. And she's like, pulls the thing out and holds it behind her back. And Sentry gets wind. He's giving her the
he realizes there. Yeah.
Yeah. He's choking her out against the wall, but he dropped the thing and he gets kill switch and he drops down. It's Mel has saved her. Mel says, I want to raise, and they walk away.
So I will say this part felt very rushed. Like Bob is here now. He's getting like he's basically getting what's
glow up
the makeover.
He's got
the glow up.
Yeah.
And it's so fast. I mean, she essentially meets him, tries to like establish herself as like, I'm your ally. Everybody else is the worst. I'm going to help you. I understand you've been through things. She obviously got horrified when she touched him. And had that, but she's still going to go forward with it because she realized he can do stuff. Like we saw his display of powers and abilities and things like that. But I felt like that is, considering this is potentially going to be a Deus Machina with Bob in the future, Sentry, stuff like that. This was a very fast introduction to a character. It's like, hey, and we aren't even defining his abilities. He can do anything. He can make bullets stop. He can use them. He's fast. He's powerful. And then if the void can take over. I'm like, so this is one. It's a little. And I don't know if you felt that way, Charlie. Like if people are watching this movie for the first time, it's like,
And again,
does this make sense?
My overall lack of familiarity with the character because he came out in Marvel Comics in the early aughts, I believe, and so it's not a character that
he is the ultimate flim flam. He's like, Stan Lee created this character in 1963 and never released it. No, it was just a ploy because they had an idea. Yes.
Right. So, so without being super familiar, and again, Sentry doesn't really factor into a lot of stuff that's going on with Marvel Comics right now that I read. He's kind of out the
brought in, and then he's like got a issue with like the void and he runs away. So he's never like a reliable, like he's not like Thor where he comes in Rex's house. He basically comes in and then he's like, the void, and runs away.
Right.
It's like, that works.
Very helpful. So at this point, Bob appears to be dead. They walk away. And then we do see upon Bob's form, the void, the blackness starts to creep in. And then all of a sudden, our people are down on the street. There's a very emotional exchange between Yelena and Alexei, where Yelena talks about her difficulties and how she needed him and he wasn't there. And she reached out to me, never, so she's like, well, I'd like, you get the feeling they're putting all their cards on the table, which most people never do. People should tell people how you feel, work shit out. That's instead of pushing it down, because the ultimate expression of pushing it down is that up in the sky, we see the form of Sentry blacked out.
Negative Bob.
Bob. Negative Bob.
Nega Bob.
There's the name of the episode. Write it down. Negative Bob.
Negative Bob. Nega Bob. Nega Bob.
He's Nega Bob.
Nega Bob.
Write it down. We've got Nega Bob. And yes, he starts using his abilities to basically zap people on the street and turn them into what essentially looks like, this was pointed out in one of the videos I watched, basically an ash shadow a la a nuclear detonation.
Hiroshima.
Yeah, Hiroshima, exactly.
Yep.
And the saddest part is Alexei and our people are saving people as debris falling from the sky. Alexei saves this little girl, and then he's looking at her, and then she gets turned to ash. And it was just it was a gasp moment for everyone.
It reminds you of the snap,
right?
In a lot of ways, which is like, holy crap, these people have just recovered from the snap,
right?
And now this is happening,
right?
And there's so much unknown with this too.
You're watching it spread out over New York City, so it's happening everywhere. So our people have to stop this, or it's going to overtake the world. So after a bunch of back and forth, and Bucky does a great thing where he deflects a van and saves an old couple. So there's a lot of there's a few minutes of that, which is that was a little hackneyed, I suppose, but you get that in superhero movies.
I think you needed to see that because you had to see these characters. Yeah, I've done some bad stuff, man. They really care about people, and they just haven't been they haven't been given the opportunity to actually do good things because they're so focused on the bad stuff that people don't see, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So Yelena moves forward. She realizes the only way to really slow it down is to confront the Void directly. So she does, as seen in the trailers, walk right in where she's got to go back into her same shame room, which we saw earlier in the movie, where she experienced something.
Should that be the title of our episode, Shame Room?
Negabob in the shame room. Write it down. I'm writing it down right now.
All right. I have it at the top. Negabob and the Shame Room.
All right.
Because, these are gems, they don't make themselves.
I like it. And yes, through this, and then our other characters show up we're starting to pick things up now. Our other characters enter, so they're all fighting together. And ultimately what they have to do is get Bob out of his own shame room, which ends up taking place within the lab that we saw where Bob was experimented upon. And he has to literally, it's kind of like the Superman versus Clark Kent fight, which was the best part of Superman 3, where he had to, struggling with his true identity, where, the bad Superman was telling Clark Kent what a loser he was. And so Negabob was telling regular Bob, you suck, you're nothing without me, blah, blah, blah. But in the end of it, everybody fights loose of their restraints because they all get pinned to the wall by debris and stuff. They all break free, and there's a great sequence of Yelena flipping over desks and stuff, which is that's great. I understand she did a lot of her own stunts too. She fought really hard to do that big jump at the beginning.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
It looked like something Tom Cruise would do, and she's much younger than Tom Cruise and far likable.
And definitely much more attractive even at his peak. But yes. So they managed to save Bob. And they managed to put the genie back in the bottle. So they materialize back in normal space. Bob shows up. I'm trying to remember, was he wearing his scrubs again? Because he was not in his Sentry outfit anymore.
No, he was wearing a weird, it was tan pants and a weird blue sweater, which I'm when did he ever wear that? He
must have been wearing it just prior to dress up. And then he doesn't have a real recollection of what happened.
No, completely gone. It's almost it's like psychosis,
right?
And all these things where he didn't have a therapist. So once again, who is Doc Samson going to show up and be a therapist again?
And that was Ty Burrell from Modern Family. Yeah, absolutely. That would be great. And
we need is there a registered therapist in the MCU?
There is Dr. Carla Soffin was at Ravencroft. She worked with Carnage, but I think he eventually killed her. And I think
that's not even MCU, right? This is Sony films.
Yeah. J. Jonah Jameson had a wife who was, I think, a therapist. I can't remember.
Well, we've got Daredevil's girlfriend who now is working for Kingpin. So we can't rely on any of these therapists. We need some
I don't have a lot of good choices.
We need X-Men would come great in because it's X-Men are they're great with dealing with psycho analysis, things like that.
Yeah, and because they have Professor X and he can do the whole powerful mind.
Exactly.
But at any rate, all of our characters turn around and Val is trying to slink away, and she goes through a tarp, and they all follow her. They all follow her through a tarp, and on the other side of the tarp is a press conference, and they're all standing behind her, and she says, "I'm so glad that you guys are here. I'm so excited that I'm able to now present." Get ready for it. It's asterisk time, because the asterisk is she's there to present the new Avengers.
Oh,
And
everybody loves the
starts
new
clapping.
Avengers
Everybody's
in
clapping.
comics and everything.
Yep. And then
new is great.
Yelena does. She leans in. One of those real. It's like what you do with your kids when they've screwed up and you want to say something that it's just you and them are going to hear it. She leans into Val and says, "We own you now," because she's basically we're in, but we got you. So you're safe and we're safe. And
absolutely.
That then turns into this super fun montage of newspaper articles,
reactions to the team, which I loved, because I'm like, I don't love that how that ended, but I'm like, they're addressing everything that I had concerns about.
It was super fun. So they put they did Yelena as Rosie the Riveter, and it's not can we do it, and it's not we can do it, it's can we do it. And you've got all of them sitting on the metal beam above New York City, having lunch.
Got the Bohemian Rhapsody where they're all staring there on Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
There's the New Yorker cover where that is Red Guardian is helping a little girl and the team's there. So
with the flower.
I loved how they approached that, because it's like, everybody's saying this is not great, and this is what we got.
We're just gonna have to roll with it. So from there, we are we get that first bank of credits, and then we get our first mid-credit scene, and
which is just goofy. I love this one.
We flash forward to the most common of settings, the cereal aisle at your local supermarket, and it's a wall of Wheaties boxes, and our gang is on a Wheaties box, and a guy with a big goofy mustache walks up and starts talking to this little tiny woman and explaining to her that he's the one on the Wheaties box, which he talked about earlier in the film.
But he didn't tell her that. He just mentioned how good Wheaties are. Yeah. And look at this team. And she's totally freaked out.
And she's like, okay. She takes the box and she turns around and walks away and just sets it down on another stack of boxes, and she's around the corner. And Alexi goes, "That's me on the box."
After she walks away, because he's wearing a mustache, he no longer has the ridiculous buffy, like the puffy beard. I always feel like, man, beard guys, maintain your beard. Don't make it look like you're a crazy man. You're like the old prospector and doing that stuff.
Either do it with some care or don't do it. And then we get a little longer. So then we move on to the piece of resistance, the real end, the big trailer. And Todd, you're the biggest detractor of meaningless stingers that I know, and I can't necessarily disagree with you, but I think this one had substance. Why don't you walk us through it?
Yeah, this one's a weird one because it's 14 months later, 15 months later, how many months?
14 months. Take a big jump forward.
14 months. Yeah. So basically, these are the new Avengers. Apparently it's not going too well, because people are like, what? How are these guys, coming up against a god? Bob is obviously, he is part of the team, but he realizes, I can't become Sentry because of all those things. I will cause havoc. So he's just there doing dishes.
Yeah,
apparently.
he's hanging out.
His contribution is.
He's the man.
Then Alexi says, well, you know what? And it's weird because we do get Anthony Mackie, the new Captain America, says, I've trademarked the Avengers, which I'm like, how does anybody trademark the Avengers?
Right.
And he's not allowing the team, like, he's like essentially just like,
and this is
what's that? C blocking the Avengers, which is just weird.
And this is this all happens through dialogue, because our people walk into the room and they're saying,
they're talking through it. It's fun. And then Alexi shows up in a jumpsuit with like all of these logos, like branding, and it looks like we're gonna be the Avengers with a Z. We can get through these copyright things. I'm like, what?
He sounds like he's talking like Ricky Bobby from
exactly. And then so then essentially the team is just feeling like, well, we're supposed to be a thing, but nobody respects us, and that's fine. But it's just like they're just feeling very much like the wind, the wind is out of their sails. They've got new costumes, but I laughed because Johnny Walker's shield is still not a shield. It's a taco.
It's really
taco.
It's weird, and they made a spoof of that on one of the magazine covers. He's riding on the back of
he's riding like a horse, which is just funny. But they've never fixed it. But the big thing is that they. So basically, Bucky is there to kind of be their senior leader, and we do get notification something's on the radar. Oh my god, what's going on? And Yelena's kind of like the leader of the team, though.
Right.
She is like the leader of the team. Bucky's there as a senior advisor, and so he's helping her. Like, you got to do this to bring it up. And I'm like, oh, okay, I bring it up.
Yeah.
And then we see something coming in. Like, is it going to be an invasion?
Yeah, it's
something coming on the space
on the satellite, and it's a funky looking rocket that's spinning around, and it spins around, and we see the big numeral 4.
Is that, Charlie? Is that I know we were going to get Fantastic Four in like 2 months. Is that a bad move? Because
know
they're pulling through, and it's like, where's the? I mean, I don't know. I don't care.
It is what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah.
And you can kind of, I think you can kind of splice it in at least 2 ways. Yes, it could be like, okay, well, you really get the feeling from the trailers and everything that the Fantastic Four are going to potentially lose their fight against Galactus in that film, and they retreat, and then they go through a hole in the space-time continuum, and they're in the 616 universe.
Yes.
Potentially likely. However, do keep in mind that there are people who maybe don't know a lot about that, who are going to see this movie and just be like, what does that mean? Four means the Fantastic Four,
I have not seen a trailer for this thing of Fantastic Four. Exactly. What does the 4 mean? Yeah.
So again, I think that for people who know, and for people who don't, I don't know that it's going to hurt the experience. So I don't feel like, oh God, this is a terrible move and it's going to destroy any credibility of this film. I think it's a nod and a wink. And much like the end of Ant-Man, where they stuck in a clip from The Winter Soldier with Bucky with his arm stuck under a press, and they tee it up because Ant-Man's going to then be part of Cap's team in the big airport fight in Civil War. So they're really I'm sorry, I said Winter Soldier, but I meant at the end of Ant-Man, it's a piece of Civil War.
You get it.
So that was just footage from that film. So this will potentially be very much like that. And maybe that'll be a way that they kick that film off, and then it'll be told in backwards motion or something. Who knows? So yeah, I think that it's a little overstating it to see, oh, this is totally ruined my experience for it, but blah blah blah. But yeah, it did.
No, I totally get that. It's
it did genuinely set the stage for not only what's immediately coming next, but this could simply be a piece of footage from Doomsday, because that's how the Fantastic Four gets involved in what's going to happen in that film. That's what I'm thinking.
Yep. So I was curious because I thought when they were going to be announced, they were like, we're announcing the Thunderbolts. Nope, it's the new Avengers. So I totally get it. So this is our new Avengers, but they don't have any heavy hitters without Bob being involved. And I will be curious to see where this goes next. And when you've got like teams where Anthony Mackie isn't going to be in play, Doctor Strange, I mean, obviously Peter Parker,
Captain,
all these things. And
Captain
it's like
Marvel, the Hulk. And again, they make this big stink of, there can only be one Avengers. There's a million Avengers teams, West Coast.
Oh, I thought they were going to say this is the West Coast Avengers, or this is the East Coast and the West. So I'm like,
new Avengers, young Avengers, the U.S. Avengers, where there's an Avengers in every state. I've got a great variant cover where the Thing is the Avenger of Michigan. I have that in my house.
The West, the Great Lakes Avengers with all the weirdos. Yeah.
So that seems like, whatever it is, it's going to be like the Sokovia Accords. We'll just, shit will come up and we'll end up kind of squashing that so that we can handle what's really going on and stuff. So, that is the end. And
absolutely,
I think they did it the right way. I think this was a success. I'd love to know that they're going to have more success. But as you said, if their opening weekend ends up at a 90 or a 95, they're not all going to be the Avengers. But again, as a film, as a smaller film, not that it was like itty bitty Escape or they didn't spend a lot of money to make it, but as something that engages something very personal with literally everyone I know, someone who suffers from some variety of depression, anxiety, PTSD, what have you. This touches that in a very real way that reminds you that there are people in you just got don't push it all down because it'll kill you, or you could, it'll put you in the hospital, or it'll, at some point you'll blow up and make a minor situation terrible. Just talk through your feelings. Rely on people. Let them know they can rely on you. And it doesn't fix all your problems, but it is better than doing nothing, which is what unfortunately a lot of people do. But fortunately,
this was essentially resolved with people hugging Bob,
yes,
and saying,
"We love you, Bob.
We're here for you," which he had never had before, which was a big deal. So that is part of this, is understanding.
Was the Friends theme. Near, 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 near. He'll be there for you. There you go.
Exactly. So a lot of this comes down to, it's not minimizing mental health issues. It's that it just definitely embraced the fact that you need people to support you and people that will be there for you, like the Friends theme.
Yeah.
So we got that. And I think that's great, because we did not get a punch down. We got somebody who is going to go down the wrong path, and they stopped him from going down that wrong path. So I like that
power of friendship.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the only ship that matters.
Absolutely. So I think with that, I don't think it really matters what this film does. It's going to definitely matter what the Fantastic Four does.
Yes.
That's essentially a fresh slate for where Marvel is going next. So this is a
brand new MCU characters that have not been seen before. Yeah, this is the fresh shovel in the dirt. This is a big deal.
Yeah, the Thunderbolts didn't have to do a lot more than just say these are great characters that you should look forward to, because you might have missed them, and they will be going forward and supporting these other things. So I think that's a great way to position this film.
Yep.
This is like Guardians of the Galaxy without like the crazy spectacle of space and all the craziness and dance routines. And I really like this, that we got something like this from Marvel, where in the past we just haven't, because they've been like, we got to do the big bad, and then we're going to go. That is it.
Big blue space
for this episode, Charlie.
You bet.
Yes. So hopefully you stuck with us. You caught up with us after you saw it. You enjoyed it. So if you like more of these, let us know. It's a little longer episode than we do, but this definitely deserved it, because I know a lot of people are on the fence about Marvel, but I think I want Marvel to do more of this than some of the other stuff they've already done. It's
great to hear that they can branch out and tell different stories that people can connect with, because they've certainly tried different things that people didn't connect with. So this was better than that. So go out and see the movie. It's in theaters now. Don't wait. It's worth seeing. And I think we'll go see it again in IMAX because when things have died down, because this was filmed for IMAX. So apparently there's a little extra.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't know that. One of the big things in our theaters, they've like Theater X or Studio X or whatever they're calling it, where they put stuff on the side of the theaters and you can pay more to see it. I'm like, that sounds like a complete waste of money.
Side of the theaters,
think, Charlie, the movie goes all the way out and then it does more. I'm like, what is really in those areas of the film? It's a gimmick. It's dumb.
Yeah, I don't really care for that.
Yes.
But anyway, all right. Well, that's the show. Go see the movie. Todd, where do people find you out there?
Oh, they can find me on Blue Sky at Todd Oxtra, at Secret Friends Unite. They can follow me on Threads, Instagram, and Facebook at Toxtra, at Secret Friends Unite. And check out our Discord, check out our YouTube, check out all the cool places you can see us, get our stuff. And you know what? Share our content, because that's how we can make more cool stuff.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, please give us a 5-star rating on the podcast catcher of your choice. We would appreciate it. Also, feel free to correspond with us, not only on Discord, but even on the good old mailbag, secretfriendsunite@gmail.com. We'd love a little letter. Hey, this is what I thought. I loved it. I hated it. You guys are nuts. Blah, blah, blah. We'd love to hear it. And we might even use those comments on the show. For myself, you can find me over on the big three of the socials: Threads, Blue Sky, and Instagram. I am at the C3, TheCeeThree. I spend most of my time over on our SFU Discord, because that is a great place to interact, have fun chats, share a good time, and all of that good stuff. But with that, friends, as always, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
Thunderbolts!
Poop.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member. Get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.